Hi, welcome back to the Spirit's Path. This is Dee, and today's tarot card of the day is the Life Lessons card of the Woodward. And with this being a major arcana card, you still have the Great Bear down here as well. The wheel just fell off. All right, so you still have two major arcana cards, which are Life Lessons cards to me. And this one is teaching the aspect of patience and justice and just balance within the Wildwood Forest. All right. He symbolizes the power that comes from overcoming fear and the nature of darkness. And he's sitting there with the lynx, and the lynx is I want to say the Page of Stones that's out there. So this might have a little to do with some stability. There might be some messages coming through around stability for you as well. I mean, yesterday we had a very healing day with the stones. So, there's some stability going around, I feel, kind of like in the health aspect, whether that's mental health, financial health, in this aspect, psychological health, spiritual health, right? The Woodward is a hunter, and you can see that with everything that he's got. He's got the spear, that he's holding up. He's also got a cup that he's drinking of, and he's got the ace, the knight of arrows behind him, and that hawk. So he is one with the forest. He's one with the animals, and looking through there, and being that hunter of solving crises. He likes the puzzles aspect, okay, and he uses his powers, to commune with the lynx, and as well as the hawk. So, there is that mental aspect of communication within the forest. There is that healing aspect that's going on as well, because if you're doing something that's, between the difference between right and wrong, he's going to know it, this Woodward is. And he's going to put you back on that path. You may have that conversation with him and say, what, this is what I'm thinking. And he's going to look at you and say, what, it's either good or it's either bad. He's going to agree with you or disagree with you, okay? And, maybe there's a little fear, within that healing aspect of, of saying, what, my spiritual path has been going so great. I've been on this trajectory. I've kind of leveled out a little bit. But this is kind of how I'm feeling. This is kind of, what I'm thinking about. And he may look at it and say, what's bothering you, right? What's holding you back from moving forward? Well, I had this conversation with a friend. All right, well, what about that conversation? Well, I kind of felt like maybe they were a narcissist, and they're telling me what to do, this, that, and the other thing. He goes, well, then why are you even listening to them? Why are you thinking about that, right? Why are you letting that bring these low vibrations of fear and worry into your life? Turn it around back into love and joy and bliss. Get back to that dancing that you had a week ago. Okay, and when he talks to you, the Woodward, and lets you know to face that fear, it shows your own inner strength, right? It shows that inner strength of saying, what, I need healing. I need to talk to the universe to give me more. To say I was wrong, to say, hey, I'm sorry, right? Or I forgive you. You don't have to say that to the person. You can just say it to the universe. I forgive you for the way you treated me. And just leave it at that. It doesn't mean you have to have that, if that person reaches out, you don't have to have that conversation with that person, right? You can just say, what? I'm at peace. I'm at joy. I'm at love. I'm at bliss. And leave it as it is. And what does that do? That brings in more to your inner strength. When you stand up for yourself with somebody who's being bossy or manipulative, it's the same thing. It's bringing in that Woodward and saying, what? No. This is how I'm going to do things. And it's kind of, it's what I've noticed over the years. It's everybody's always giving. Those people that give never get. And when you become selfish, other people get ticked off. It's like, what do you mean no? You've always done this in the past. Well, guess what? There comes a time where you have to say stop. That's enough. I'm done. And you cut that person out of the life. That's that inner strength that's coming up, okay? And no matter how, what those people come back in, you have to ask yourself the question of, is this out of love? Or is this out of, something else? Low vibration. Because if it's not of love, why do you want to deal with it? That's what your spiritual path is all about. You to be on that spiritual path, to teach others about love, peace, and joy, but also to make yourself a better human being. To not have to, have these negative attachments to you. To let go of the negative vibes, the negative, the low vibe energy of fear and worry. All right? Yes, it's good to talk things out with others and, explain where you're at. But when you gain that inner strength, when you gain that ability to stand up for yourself, when you gain that ability to say, no, stop. Or, you know what, I'm not going to associate with that person. That raises your vibration. And other people that are at that same vibration are going to come to you. All right? Look at you for the advice on the Woodward. Look at you and say, hey, thanks. That message was awesome. Or, I appreciate everything you've done, and you did it in a spirit of love. Right? And you can hear the genuineness when people thank you. Right? When you start communicating with the same people that are on your level, you're just lifting your community up to a higher level, right? You're part of that enclave of people that are on the same journey that you're on, okay? And, along with that inner strength comes wisdom. All the life lessons cards teach that. Wisdom, courage, patience, inner strength, confidence. When you can look at the wisdom of what's happening here since the last time we've seen this card, which I think, maybe 6 to 8 weeks, and you look at the life lessons card of what the wheel talked about, what does the wheel talk about? You control your destiny, okay? You've got complete control on what to fear and what not to fear, whether or not you want to fear what's going on out there. You want to go down in that worry pit, go down it. Just remember to come back up, because a lot of people get lost down there and never come back up. You learn from your past. That's why rule number 3 for me is you can't change the past. All right? You can't change it. But how does that wisdom and knowledge move you forward that when that situation does happen again, you make a different choice? Okay? Again, patience. Be patient, with that journey of gaining that inner strength. But you also have to be, like a hunter, similar to the archer that we seen here a little while ago. You have to be dedicated to that goal. If your goal is to reach your spiritual path and to become free of negativeness and be enlightened, that's going to be a lifetime of work. That's going to be a lifetime of, doing things to better yourself, to get to your higher self, and to move to a different level. And once you get to there, you can look back in the past and look at all the challenges, look at all the obstacles, look at all the years that have gone by and say, wow, look where I was at 4 years ago or 5 years ago. And I've gotten through it. All right? Why was I so worried about that? Again, you've developed that inner strength. You developed that wisdom. You developed that courage. And you've still succeeded. You still move forward. All right? And your trajectory continues to go up. Yeah, there's going to be some peaks and valleys within it. But you're working on that enlightenment, that spiritual path that you're on. Okay? And when you do that, when you listen to the life lessons cards, with the Woodward, you develop that balance within. A balance between the creativity and the thought process. A balance between the emotions and the stability piece. And to have a balance overall within all 4, okay, is part of that enlightenment process. I'm good financially. I'm good emotionally. You know, I've got this creative process that I'm working on, and I've got the, you know, the creative and passion, you know, to continue moving forward. And the other piece of it is, you know, I'm continually thinking about new ways of doing things. All those elements involved. And you know what? When that challenge and that obstacle occurs, you face that adversity. And you face it knowing that you're going to be balanced, knowing that you're going to have some patience to go through it because you're nice and calm, cool and collected. You're at that high vibration. You're not, oh my God, this is going to happen, right? You're thinking about what's moving forward, all right? You put a plan into place and you move forward on it. You know, and the good thing about that is knowledge is foresight, kind of the way I look at it. And, you know, when you get to a point where that challenge comes up, that inner strength takes hold because you develop that, you move forward, you know, on your path, and you kind of expect this to happen because you know that you're going to succeed through it, right? That gives you that confidence and that knowledge and that wisdom. And just, you know, from looking within and saying, you know what, you got this. You got this moving forward. So don't let those fears and those worries drag you down. The Woodward's here to, you know, say focus on your inner strength, and maybe that's where you need some healing. You know, maybe that slipped. You're at that pool right now, drinking out of the waters of life. Let that water refresh you. Let that water renew you, because the Queen and Page of Bows are down here saying, you know, to the simple aspect is, what would you do different? How would you engage with it? That's what the Page of Bows is saying. The Queen is looking at it going, you know, how do you influence those around you? You know, what do you need more understanding about? You know, and to me, that's an internal process. An internal process is saying, okay, I need to work on this for myself. And then the Woodward comes along and says, you're absolutely right. You need to work on some spiritual healing. You need to work on some emotional healing. So what's going on? Because the Great Bear and I, we're down here to protect you. And you're still dancing in the streets. So that's today's message, a little bit longer than usual. Hit that like button for me, subscribe to the channel. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Give me a thumbs up, share it with others. And the Life Lessons card of the Woodward is the card of the day. And we'll talk to you tomorrow. Take care, God bless, and stay safe, everybody.